moving into London now, let's bring in Juliana for the opening calls. Good morning, Juliana. I hope you had a great weekend.
Good morning, Chimeze. I did. Thank you very much.
Right, the government has announced a £1.25 billion package to support innovative new companies that are not eligible for existing coronavirus rescue schemes. Nonetheless, not without strings attached. What's the catch?
Well, the catch is if you can't pay it back, you'll give the government some equity in your business. But I think for those innovators in life sciences and technologies, this new package, the latest package from the Treasury, is going to come as a huge sigh of relief because, again, there are so many different companies that have been suffering since Britain has been locked down for almost 5 weeks now, and there have been calls from several business leaders within this field asking the government that if we are to emerge from this crisis as still one of the leaders in innovation and a global base for technology, then these individuals need to be financed. It is over £1 billion, but this is a joint funding package. The British Business Bank are also involved, as well as the private sector. So if you have been successful in the past of securing over £250,000 of grants, then the government will be able to offer you funding of between £500,000 and £5 million over the course of the next couple of months. But again, this is just filling in a loophole because there are several loopholes, several businesses that haven't been able to access funding through the government's current schemes, and this was just the latest announced last night by the Treasury.
In the meantime, the government pay scheme for workers who are kept on the payroll despite not working due to coronavirus is set to open for applications today. What should we expect to see?
We're going to be seeing a flood of applications. There is one left-leaning think tank that actually predicts about 8 million workers will be under the retention scheme. This was the big scheme that Chancellor Rishi Sunak first announced once he said that he would be putting aside £350 billion to tackle the pandemic. What this is, it's called the furlough scheme. If you are earning above £2,500 a month, that will be the cap. So between £2,500, which is up to 80% of your wage, the government will be paying that. So all employers today will be able to access this money. This money will be available within 6 days. So people will, if you are eligible for this scheme, you will be paid by the end of this month. There were calls last week, particularly from the Confederation of British Industry, asking the government to extend the deadline. So the deadline has actually been extended. So it will be going to the end of June, which I believe is an extra month. But this is also going to cost the government about £40 billion, way more than they expected. This is how much it will cost for every 3 months that this scheme happens. And of course, there are a lot of people that are asking just how long the Treasury can afford this. Earlier today, former Labour leader, former Prime Minister Tony Blair was giving a round of interviews, and he was saying that there are growing concerns that the cabinet, the government, are just not doing enough to strategically get Britain back to work. Some people would say it's a decision between the head and the heart because, of course, nobody wants to see any more lives lost, but it's really damaging the economy. And I think once the numbers do actually come in from how many employers are applying for this retention scheme, they'll just know how much money this has cost to the taxpayer.
All right, it's a brand new week. What is it going to be like aside from data releases?
Well, I spoke to you about the lockdown, and that's becoming a really serious talking point. Over the weekend, there were a couple of opinion pieces, particularly in the Telegraph, just talking about how the government had forewarning about the disease. They knew it was coming into the United Kingdom. They acted extremely slowly. There are also discussions about divisions within the entire cabinet at the moment. It seems to be on one side you have the Chancellor of the Exchequer and the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, really desperate to get business back and get Britain back outside. And then you have the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, as well as Michael Gove, who's a very senior figure within the cabinet, desperate to keep the lockdown extended for as long as you can. So there are huge issues with that. And then, of course, we are coming to the end of the month, aren't we, Chimmy? So those PMI numbers, which will tell us the state of the economy, we're expecting the flash indicator to come any time from now. And it will just go to show how severe this lockdown has affected manufacturing, construction, and the service industry, which we all know is an important part of the British economy.
All right, thank you very much. Juliana, we wait to get updates from you later today.